Hey, I'm Joe Latender. Welcome to my channel. So that's how you do that. Now, most plank manufacturers, they don't give you very detailed instructions on how to install vinyl plank. It's just a piece of paper in the box. There's not much room to put things on in there. Now, I want to share with you a method that I came up with that I think is the easiest way to start a row of vinyl plank in the very beginning. I do want you to know that there's another video, and I'll leave a link for it somewhere up here, that you can go and check that video out so that you can learn how to plan your layout before you get to this step of installing the first row. Now let's watch this video. Most of us have heard how easy and how simple it is to install vinyl plank or laminate, and honestly, it is pretty easy. Once you get the hang of installing it and putting the plank together, the other thing that's really important is starting. Getting that first row to go. That's where most people struggle the most, on just figuring out how to start, where to start. And I think that if you put a little bit of planning in your install instead of just starting with a full piece along the wall like a lot of the boxes say, and a lot of the videos that I see out on YouTube, guys are just starting with one full plank along the wall and then go and hope that everything goes well. I like to plan to make sure that when I get to doorways like this, that I can get the plank into the door easily and work away from that door easily, so I don't have transitions that I need to use. It just makes the installation go a lot easier when you do a little bit of planning. Now, starting the very first rows can be very difficult and challenging just to even get started if you haven't done this before. And in this video, I'm going to show you the easiest method that I've ever came up with to start the first few rows. Now, vinyl plank has a tongue and a groove. This is the tongue side. Here's the groove side, right here. Here's the groove side on the butt joint, tongue side, tongue side. We always want to face the tongue towards our starting wall. We always want to work away from the groove. So I'm going to be working away from the groove this way and this way. So that means I want to start this first plank towards that wall with the tongue facing that way, and then down here at the end. I'm going to do what I call bridging, where I'm going to have part of the plank overlapping on this side and part of it on this side of the plank. I get it in the track, and that's going to help me get these two planks straight. This is what I call bridging. I'm going to use my tapping block to get it to lock in now. And now I'm going to continue on, and this is going to help me keep this plank straight and also these two plank together. Now I'm going to bridge it again. But I'm going to lock in the long joint, but I'm not going to lock in the short joint. I'm going to just make it just shy of where it needs to go. So now all of this is locked in, and it's not going to come apart when I move it. Now I'm going to wait on this last piece because I have to mark and cut it, and I'm going to wait till I get this somewhat straight before I mark and cut that piece. Now what I need to do is I need to measure from the edge of the plank. I'm putting the tape measure up on top of the locking system, only measuring to the surface or to the finished part of the plank, measuring from the beginning of that plank to where I snap my chalk line, and then we're going to get this secured and make it nice and straight. So now I'm measuring off of my 10 plank here to see how far I need to be away from that line, somewhere around 40 inches. So I'm putting the tape measure up on top of the locking system, and I'm going to measure just the finished part of the plank. I'm measuring down close to 40 inches, and I'm just going to round up to the next full plank, which is, in my example, would be 41 1/16. So that's how far my plank needs to be away from that chalk line. Now I'm going to sacrifice one plank here, and what I want is I want the groove side. So now I have 8 scrap pieces here that I'm going to use. I'm going to show you what we're going to do with these now. Now I'm going to measure and get my plank perfect with the line here, which is 41 1/16. I showed you that. Now if you were on concrete, you could just use glue and glue this scrap piece down. So if you're on concrete, here's the glue gun that I'm talking about. You can get a glue gun just like this. I'll have a link down below for my tools page so you can check this out. Now when you stick this down on the concrete, it sticks really well. And right now, at the very end, when you're ready to pull these pieces, just use a pry bar to get it out. Now I like to put these at every joint, every joint. Now that I have this straight all the way up to this point, now I can mark and cut this piece. And so what I do to do this is this is the way the plank is supposed to go in there. I just reverse it. So now I have the tongue facing me instead of the groove. And then I'll just stick it up against the wall or cabinet. And then for my expansion joint that I'm gonna leave against the cabinet, I use the locking system as my guide. So I'll just make a mark right where the groove ends. That'll give me my 1/4 inch up against that wall. So I'll get this locked in, use my next plank here, and do the bridge method again. You can see that plank isn't going anywhere. It makes it so much easier this way. Now at this point I'm done with the 10 planks, so I'm going to take these apart so we can use these now. Now I'm going to cut 3 starter pieces. This is a random pattern, so it doesn't have to be any specific measurement. I'm just going to make some marks. This is the side that I'll be starting with, so it'll be like this. So I don't know, maybe my first piece will be like that. Maybe I'll do a bigger one, and let's do one that's in between the 2 marks. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to try to do 3 rows at a time, especially in big open areas. So I'm going to take this piece out and slide it forward that I used when I was bridging. We don't need that right now. We're going to use it. And now I'm going to take these 3 pieces and just kind of decide which one I'm going to go with first. I could go with the long one, the medium, and the small. I could go with the small, the long, and the medium. And I could go with the medium, the small, and the bigger one. I just am trying to establish a random pattern. It doesn't matter, okay? So this is the angle to angle. So what I want to do is I want to first get my butt joint put into place. There's 2 different ways of doing this, and I'm going to show you both. Get the butt joint into place, let it down. Now it's close to the locking system right here. Now I'm going to start lifting it up at an angle down here. I'm going to take my tapping block, and I'm going to start working my way back. See how that just went down flat? So here's the other method that's used, and it depends on the plank that you have. This is an angle click, or what I call a drop and lock. And what you do first is you seat the long joint, and then you slide it back towards the butt joint, and then drop the plank down. Now you'll take your tapping block and make sure it's seated in there perfectly. Lightly tap until it drops into place completely. And now we're just going to take that rubber mallet or dead blow hammer and pound that butt joint down so it locks in place. Get this started. I'm leaving an expansion joint of a 1/4 inch along the back wall. Same thing. Just use my tapping block to get it locked in. Now I'm going to start the next one right here. Get that locked in. And now I'm going to start laying out some plank. Now this is where I go through and I make sure my patterns aren't the same with the other planks that are around it. I'm not going to I'm going to give them a little space. I'm going to space it out a little. I'm just going to kind of lay them out and get them in the spot where I want them. Makes it go a lot faster. Now I'm going to pull this piece back out because this is the one I bridged. Again, I'm going to get this part into the butt joint. Locking it in. Sliding it this way as far as I can. So now it's all locked in here. I laid it flat. It's just about 1/8 of an inch away from where it needs to go in. Now I'm gonna come down here. I'm gonna lift up, just get my fingers underneath the plank just a little bit. I'm holding it up, but I'm putting pressure down on this side to keep this part of the plank into that groove. Just lightly tap. Lift at an angle, lightly tap. Come back. And then it'll all start falling down. Now the key is to have a good tapping block. This is one that I designed. It's called the plank hammer. I like it because it's not so big and bulky like the other ones I used to use. It weighs still a good amount of weight, 2 pounds. Has a really nice handle so you can grip it in different spots. This is really DIY friendly. Okay, so now this is one of our cutoffs that we had from earlier, so I'm just going to use that. So again, it's supposed to go this way. I've reversed it, slide it in, use the locking system as your guide. So once we're installing all the plank in that room, then I'll go back and I'll install that very first row that we left out. And this just makes it so much easier because you were able to build a nice solid foundation in the beginning. And coming back and installing this row is really simple. All you do is line up plank right on top of the plank that's already been installed. I make sure it's lined up perfectly with the plank underneath. And then I also make sure that I stagger the butt joint a little bit different than any of the other plank. And now you see me using my cheater board to mark the wall out onto the plank. So we just take that plank, go cut it, and now I'm going to remove all those little tiny pieces that we used to secure that floor. And then we're simply just going to put these pieces in. Now I do like to use a pull bar, and I want you to be aware here that there are some really chintzy pull bars out there. Make sure you get a good high quality pull bar. It's very important. So you can see starting your first few rows using the method that I just shared with you is going to be really simple for you. The last thing you need is for something to be difficult in the very beginning of starting your project, which you can feel overwhelmed, stressed out. By using this method, you'll see how easy it really is to start. Now, I want to share some other things with you too. So if you click on the link of this video up here at the end, that's going to bring you to a video where I'm going to show you some other things about a plank installation. Putting the plank together, working backwards, going up to door jambs, things like that, using a cheater board. There's a lot of really good nuggets in there, the meat and potatoes of a plank installation. So check that video out. There's going to be more than just that in this series, so follow those. Hit that subscribe button and that like button if you feel like I've deserved it. I really do appreciate it. My family and I can't thank you enough. If you're looking for some good quality tools, check out my website. There's a link below for the tools page. And also, if you're looking for some good quality vinyl plank and you haven't chosen any yet, I also have some vinyl plank recommendations down below. You can click on that and go check those out. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I also have a membership site that you can come and check out if you want help with your plank installation. You can get some one-on-one coaching from me if you're looking for that, and that's called Plank Boot Camp. I'll also have a link below for that. Hey, I'm Joel Attender. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.